And so it is. Dear Imzaia, energy weavers and enlightened ones, I and the others welcome you to this moment of the now. The moment that we have chosen, you and I, to create this field of energy together, all of us, connecting our hearts as we do, connecting our souls as we do, connecting our minds as we do. As usual, when the heart speaks, the mind knows nothing. The mind has no thoughts. The mind has no ideas, no concepts. Concepts are never born in the mind. Concepts are born in that place which we call the neocortex, is it not? And as fate would have it, this fourth part of the brain, this neocortex, is the place that connects this mental power up here, the head, to the fifth part of the brain, which is called the Akene, which is an energy center at the heart of our being. An energy center that you would call divinity. Divinity indeed. Why is it so that the heart is called divine and not the head? Because we are not born with a mind. We are not born with concepts already preloaded into our systems. The only thing that comes with us as we enter the human race, as we enter through the birth canal into that which we call the physical reality, is the beating of the heart. A baby knows not the concepts of society. The baby knows not the words of society and the values. Any baby, any child that comes into this world only knows its very core essence. And is this not all that we need to know? Is this not the thing that we should cherish above anything else? So many times when we all walk the streets, so many times when we go through life, we forget that we have this space in here, the heart space in here, and that anything can be created from this space. Anything. You don't need to use the same values that society tries to push upon you. You don't need to tune in to the latest television show, to the latest movie, to the latest book even. You don't need to tune into all of this. Every creation, every creative aspect of life stems forth from within, not from without. And indeed, if you enjoy the arts, if you enjoy television, if you enjoy technology, there's nothing wrong with this. So many people judge technology or judge things that are created by society, and this is probably because of the things you are hearing in Ekaraya conversations like the ones we are having now. But judgment is not necessary. You can enjoy the things of the outside world as long as you find them within as well. And this is often forgotten. Oftentimes people forget that everything that is created always is connected to this condition we call the heart energy. When we enter into the heart energy, we enter into the world of magnetism. We enter into the world of creation. We enter into the world of energology instead of technology, where things do not need to be prepared for you by either machines or human hands. This is unnecessary indeed and redundant, to say the least. You can create anything you need. You can create anything you want. And the ones that are here on the planet today are those that have come back with this vision. All of you who sit here, and all of those who will at a later point listen to this Ekaraya message, all of you know that you have come here to this plane, to this planet, with a specific vision in mind, or should we say in heart. Last time, when you were all in Tintagel, when you were all near Merlin's cave, we were talking about the heart space, and we were talking about the stillness that exists between two heartbeats, and that within this stillness lies consciousness, and that the mind oftentimes will go towards the noisy aspects of life, such as the beating of the heart itself, the moment of beating. As such, redundancy is created. As such, thoughts are created. If you have forgotten this truth, I invite you to experience it again, to listen to it again. Not the words themselves, not the message that was taped through technology, as this one is being taped through technology. You have taped your own messages, in your own energology, in your own Akene, the divinity that lies within. You can listen to these messages in the stillness of your heart, in between the heartbeats themselves, for that is where every moment you have ever created, every moment you have ever lived, is still present in the now. People oftentimes will get sad because they think a moment is gone, because they think back in time, forgetting that time and space are just illusions of the mind that is always trying to get close to something new or trying to get away from something. And it is within this action, the action of getting closer to a desire, an object of desire, or to get away from something, that time and space is created. For these actions create thought. And thought needs electricity in the brain. Synapses need to fire up. Neurological nets need to form to create a thought within the brain. And this takes a linear aspect of time. And as such, you translate this to the world outside. And as such, you displace yourself from the object or the subject of your desire, that which you wish to create. And all of you here, remember very well that creating doesn't need to take time, doesn't need to involve space, doesn't need to involve suffering, doesn't need to involve money. Anything you want can be created right here and now. Now, last time, when we were talking about the Lemurian heritage, when we were talking about that space field that existed, linearly speaking, more than 38,000 years ago on a continent called Lemuria, we said, all of us present here, we said that the Lemurian knew that creation was something that was instantaneous. And why? Very simple. All you need to do to create is to decide. If you decide you need to create something, it will be there immediately. Even though the physical aspects, the physical attributes might not show up in your physical world immediately, it is there. If you can train your senses, sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing, if you can train these senses not to connect to the brain alone, to the fourth parts of the brain, but also to the fifth one, you will start seeing and feeling and smelling and tasting and touching things in a different way. Now today, after this Ekaraya will be complete, we will work with this. Like the ones right before this gathering started have experienced, you can train your senses in seeing things that only exist in energy. And they even show up in the physical world. The only thing keeping you from it, keeping you from manifesting these realities, is your own self-doubt. Self-doubt because you believe that you are just imagining things. Self-doubt because you are afraid to speak out, to speak up. Self-doubt because indeed the physical world cannot be influenced by you. How could you, puny human, create this magnificence that is all around you? Well, think again. Or even better, stop thinking. Stop going back into the experiences you have already lived, where you have been taught not to believe that you are God also, that you are the creator of your own life. And this train of thought has been so implicitly installed in your own DNA itself, in your pattern of thinking, in your way of thinking, in your method of living even, that you are just slaves to society. If you believe that you are a part of all of this. An example, the other day, this man who is speaking now, and you all, were walking at Michael's Mount, visiting the castle. And right near the exit, there was this mother with a small child who was barely able to walk. And this child wanted to explore the castle. This child wanted to go into all of the little hallways and all of these little things that you are not allowed to go into, because there is a rope. Because there is a rope. And as the child was using its own sense of freedom to explore, the mother quickly grabbed him by the hand and said, "Son, this is not for the public. You are a part of the public. You cannot go in here. And if you are one that sees the energies, dear ones, then at that moment you saw that that child's potentials were changed. For it was told there were aspects in life it could not do, freedom it could not explore, for it was a part of the public. I ask you, does this world belong to the public or to a few? The magnificent few, the glorious few that only distinguish themselves because they have found mental ways of experiencing power, of expressing power over others. Does this world belong to those who only have power because of the amount of money on their account? Or does this world belong to each and every person who understands that they have a heart that beats, and that in this heart lies stillness, the stillness of consciousness, the stillness of consciousness that is called freedom, the stillness of consciousness that cannot even be expressed in words. This child's potentials were changed. And it will be very hard for this child indeed to stand up to what it has been taught. That is just a part of the public. Just a part of those who live their lives in giving away their power to others, in expressing themselves through others as others would have them. This is not the way the world was intended. This is not why you came to planet Earth. This is not what lies in your heart, and you know it. I invite you to search inside into the very codes of your own DNA and to find out again and again, every single day, why you are here. What you can do today, just today. Don't think ahead. Don't try to create a linear time frame that you express before you even experience it. It is interesting Very interesting indeed. If you look at the English language or many of the other languages like Dutch and French and German, African, and so many other languages that exist today, and if you look at the formation of a verb and the way a verb can be expressed, and if you compare this to the old Lemurian language that you are beginning to understand each and every time you have one of these ekarayas, and you will see that in Lemurian there is no past tense, there is no future tense, there are no should'ves, would'ves, could'ves. There is just what is, the present tense, the now. And this is the most important aspect of reality, is it not? Words. Words create reality. There's two ways you can create reality: by expressing words, thoughts, emotions through the head, or by expressing joy, feeling, by expressing what lives inside of the heart, in between the heartbeats. There is a difference, however. Whatever is created through thought is a mental process. And when you create by using a mental process words, and you see this in society everywhere, you create something that is indeed forced. And this is what the powers that be, which we would like to call the forces that be, do every day. They bombard you with words, in advertising, on television, in the radio systems. Everywhere you go, there's words. And I would like you to invite others and yourselves to notice how many words are indeed based on money. Just the other day, on the BBC radio Classical FM, when you all were driving to Mount Michael, there was an advertising intermission, commercials. Everything you heard had to do with money. Everything. Every time you look around you in society, in the streets, you will see that every object, almost every object, is connected to money. This very coffee cup here, if you wish to purchase it, if you wish to obtain it, there's a price attached. And so you learn that everything must come at a cost. The cost of slavery. The cost is freedom, dear ones. Freedom. And so these forces that be keep creating the world at the expense of your own freedom. There is even an expression, money is freedom. Money means freedom. How sick is this? The very grounds you are sitting on here today, this ancient abbey of Glastonbury, has a price if you want to visit it. For most people, and those who crawl over the walls, could be caught. And when they are caught, they get lost in the system. Isn't it terrible that when you want to park your vehicle somewhere, there's a price attached? Isn't it terrible that when someone has a birthday, there's a price attached, for you are invited to buy a gift. And you are trained that if you don't buy a gift, there is no real love attached to that person. Yesterday when you were walking through the streets, now you are coming at the end of another school year. There are plentiful of cards. Cards that are not necessary. Cards that have a price attached to it. Cards that say, "Thank you, teacher, for being such a good teacher." Why cannot the child express this itself? Why must there be a card? Why must there be a prize? Why don't parents tell their children, create something from the heart for your teacher? Most children would do this themselves without being dragged into a store. So this is the way of the forces that be, creating words, 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 words. Society is so connected to words that even this, Ekaraya, is mostly expressed through words. And the reason for this is that through words you can enter the system and change the system. In most cases, with most people, this is the only way you can ever change them. You can ever invite them at least to change. But there is another way. There is the way of the heart. There is the way of love that has no name, that has no past tense or future tense. It just is as it is. If you think back to an earlier moment that you loved someone or expressed love to someone, it will be very difficult indeed not to experience this love again. You will always experience it again. And at that point, when you go to the head again, you will go into drama, for you will miss the love. And most people don't see that every given moment of time and space, they can experience that same love again. And the only tag that is attached to this is not a price tag. It's the tag of consciousness. That's all you need to experience love at any given moment. This is the truth of the Lemurian. And this is why the Lemurian never died, as we said last time. Now many, many, many ancient truths are coming back to the surface. In the years to come, you will experience this. In the years past this point of the now, so many books were written about the truths of Atlantis and the truths of Lemuria and the truths of the Ascends and the truths of so many others, the truth of Buddha, the truth of Jeshua, the truth of the Magdalene, the truth of so many, so many, so many others. And people thought that when these truths would resurface, great continents would again re-emerge out of the oceans in a spectacular way. Well, I ask you, do you really believe continents will re-emerge? Or do you believe that what was really meant is that truth would re-emerge? Ancient insights would re-emerge. What is coming back to this planet, what is re-emerging from the oceans, is not land, it is love. It is the stillness of the heart of the Lemurian that exists between the heartbeats. Last time, I and the others said that this was carried in the very stones of Gaia itself. Today I want you to remember, it's not just in the stones, it's in all life. It's in the dolphin, it's in the whale. And some of you who will be experiencing Lemuria as you go to Hawaii or any other place on earth where there be dolphins will notice that these kind creatures of consciousness have one purpose and one purpose alone: to carry this ancient energy, this original authentic energy, and when they come in contact with you, to activate this energy within you. And at that point, you become the dolphin. As you were sitting at the pond, the lotus pond over there, mere minutes ago, you were invited to become the lotus, to become the flower. Now you are sitting next to the tree, or in the tree in some cases, and you are invited to become the tree. You are invited to become the grass. You are invited to become each other. But first and foremost, you are invited to become you, to be you. Every day is another invitation to look at who you are, who you can be, to look at your very cells themselves, knowing that they need not age, they need not enter into a state of disease. They need not do any of these things. They are just energy. Just as you are energy. And your energy can create anything it desires. It has created this body. It has created the moment right now that you are listening to these words. You are creating these words. Some of you are drawing. This is also the creation of the moment. The wind that you are feeling right now, let it be the wind of change. The wind of memory. The wind of remembering who you are. Dare to see the elements which are the sky and the earth and the sun and the water. Dare to see these elements as invitations to who you really are. And then there need be no drama. Then there need be no pain. Then there need be no death. Then there need be no disease. No sadness. No nothing. Only everything that you are, reflected in the world outside. As you came into the abbey today, and you formed the circle that opened this seminar, or this Imzaia, twice you have created the sun. As you were sitting at the lotus pond, and the rain started coming, you have created the end of the rain. Now you are creating the wind. Now you are steering the birds that are flying around you. Or are you really? Or could it be that these birds flying around you are just dancing around you, showing you that you always have choices, that you always have potentials flying around you, and you just need to experience them. As we said last time, people always try to grab potentials. They always try to grab things. In Dutch, the word understanding, for instance, is begrijpen, which would mean grabbing something. You try to grab something so you can understand it. Grijpen means grabbing. It's interesting how your languages are formed. It's interesting to see how you try to understand something and then you grab it so you can hold on to it, latch on to it. And you do this with everything. You do this with sex. You do this with enjoyment. You do this with all things you can enjoy, really. You just want to grab onto them, not understanding that just experiencing them, dancing with their potentials is enough. Let's look at drugs, for instance. There is this mystical insanity on the planet that says that certain objects or certain things are okay and other things are not. You can get wine, you can get beer, you can get cigarettes in stores everywhere around the world. At the same time, there's a duality that these things are bad for you, and so they're trying to take these things away from you. At the same time, people are making money from your addictions. And then again, there are these things called marijuana, for instance, which in most countries is forbidden. The problem is not in the substance itself. It lies in the enjoyment of the substance. For what the mind does when it enjoys something, it will grab onto it and it will try to recreate that experience again and again and again. Why? Are you afraid to look further for bigger enjoyment, for bigger experience? This is an addiction. And so people also get addicted to love, which they express in the lower vibrations in lust. They get addicted. They want to repeat the same experiences again and again and again, not understanding that if you dare to enjoy the moment, and if you seek to not recreate the moment, greater enjoyment will come into your life. Greater experience will come into your life. It's also easy. You are on your way to a state of permanent bliss if you just follow the roads that you are creating yourselves. If you want to travel from one point to another point, you will never get to that point if you get stuck in some sort of restaurant, for instance, where you will eat the same meal over and over and over again, not knowing that maybe 10 miles down the road you will not need the enjoyment of food, you will find the enjoyment of a loved one that will cross your path. But if you stick to that restaurant, if you stick to that same place over and over and over again, you will never get out and you will keep the cycle going. Letting go of a certain place or a certain enjoyment or a certain thing, throwing it back into the sea of potential is all you need to find even bigger potentials, to find even bigger bliss, to find the way of your heart. This is what faith is all about. It is never about a deity. It is never about trying to become enlightened. It is just about faith that you are the creator of your life, and that if you let go of what you have created, only then will there be more space for new creations. Only then will you be a master of space and time, understanding that you are not creating it. And this is what you have done with society. For hundreds of years now, you have latched on to what you know. You have latched on to what you call improvement, which is just a repetition of the same cycle over and over and over again. This device here, this digital voice recorder, is it really different from the tape recorders that you had 20 years ago? Oh, it's smaller. It is compact. Now you can travel the world compact, digitally. Is it any different, really? This is just technology repeating itself over and over and over again. And you don't see where this is going. You don't see that in 10 years from now, if you keep this path going, that this digital voice recorder will not be outside of you, it will be implanted inside of you in some sort of chip. And that everything that you record will be connected to this thing you call the internet, and that everything you will record will be stored in mass devices that will not be under your control, dear Imzaia. It will be under control of the forces that be, and so will you. Just be a slave. This is the path that you are all walking on. And this is why I and all the others and your own hearts are inviting you to wake up every single day. Wake up after you wake up, so that you can choose to change your lives. That's all you need to do. Changing your own lives will change the world around you. It's not about fighting. It's not about vandalism. It's not about destroying things. It's not about barricades and shooting those forces that be, killing certain presidents. It's not about all of this. It's just about the understanding that these people have no power over you. Never. And if you can do that, then you are free. And then you are creating your own world. Money doesn't have power over you. Nothing has power over you except you. And what you decide has power over you. It is time to not believe in darkness. It is time to not believe in the forces that be. If you stop believing in government, if you stop believing in presidents, if you stop believing in all of these things, then that's the end of it. And there you go. Tabula rasa, a whole new drawing board to create a new world. Every day you have this choice. Why are you all waiting for this date to come along, 2012, 21st or 22nd of December 2012? Why are you all living towards this moment? Today you can create a new world. Today you can make new choices. Today you can open your heart and your minds as they are connected to new perspectives. There's nothing wrong with the brain. There's nothing wrong with your thoughts. There's just something wrong with the connection. The connection between the thoughts of the mind and the sensations, the feeling of the heart. If you connect these two, and you decide to have 5 parts of the brain instead of 4, with the 5th being the Akene, as we have explained before, then you would see that every thought you have can be changed, and that you can differentiate between the thoughts that are created by you yourself and the thoughts that are created by others around you. Whoever told you that you can't change your life? Who told you that you cannot create a new life for yourselves today? Who told you that you need to be afraid? Who told you? Who dared to tell you? You should look at yourselves and you should see what you are doing. Every day is a day that you can make the difference in so many other lives, but in the first place you can make a difference in your own lives, and you can decide to play, and you can decide to have fun, and you can decide not to be led by the numbers that are in your account, your bank account. It's just an extra zero that you need to create anyway. This is the easy part, really. 100 years ago, it would have been more difficult to create money, because you needed to manifest actual gold or actual coins or actual, pieces of paper that carry power, because they have numbers on them. Today, it's just about a glitch in the system. It's just about energology. It's just about creating an extra zero. If you get a parking ticket for 140 pounds or euros or dollars or whatever system you are using, it's all the same anyway. Why not just transfer $1.400 and then change the system so that the coma, the little interpunction, disappears? Why not do all of these things? Why not use the system as the system is using you? And this is the way to stand up. Not destroying the system, playing with it. Seeing it as a game again, and not being the victims of it. Be the player, not the victim. Being the player will change anything. A child, for instance, as it is playing, and some of you here, and some of you that are listening to this message have had experience with children on the playgrounds, or the children that are playing over there right now. Their power is so bloody great. They can be playing cowboy and Indian, for instance, be lethal enemies at a certain point, and all of a sudden the game changes and they become lovers. They play brother and sister, or they go play something else, or they invent this world that they're living in and they're running around the abbey. Do you think they're seeing the same reality as you at that point? They're not. They're not seeing the same grass, they're not seeing the same trees. Remember what it was like to be a child. Remember what it was like to be on the playground and play with your fellow mates. Remember what it was like to be in space. Remember what it was like to do all of these things that you could do by just imagining it. Do you think you really saw the same reality than the adults were seeing at that point? Screw reality. Create your own. But create one that is coming from the stillness of your heart. Create one in the freedom that comes with responsibility. Create one with the responsibility that comes with freedom. If you create something for yourselves, the only way to latch onto it, to hold on to it, is creating it for someone else, giving it away, as some teachers would say. So be the teacher. Be the one that is changing reality. This is what the Lemurians did. This is what the dolphins are doing. They gave their own reality away to all of you, so that theirs could become greater. Theirs could become bigger. Now, in the last few days, as this Imzaia has been going on, as this gathering has been going on, you have been invited to work with the elements. Which one of you has actually done this? Here you are, in England. Here you are in this new space that you have created for yourselves for 5 days. All we did was invite you. So you have created this new space for yourselves. Are you looking at new ways? Are you looking at new ways of lives as you are here? Or are you just going to go back tomorrow night and step back into the same boring life that you have been experiencing over and over and over again? Or are you going to make a new choice? Oh, I believe you are going to make a new choice, because I believe in you. I believe that you are getting quite fed up with your lives. I believe that you are getting quite bored with the lives you were leading. Well, take action. Understand that you are an energy being and that everything around you is energy that you can change. It's not that difficult. Others have been doing it. Others have been showing you the way. You don't even have to be the first to do it. The only thing you have to do is do it in your own unique way. That's all you have to do. Your own unique way. You are an energy being, and the way your energy flows is magnificent. It's beautiful. It's unique. It's you. It is your home. And you can express your home, your core, your essence outside of you. You can expand your energy. Later today, when these teachings are over and when we will have done the exercises that we will do, we will take you up to the Tor, a magnetic portal, an energy place, one of the biggest in Europe. Not in size, but in magnitude. In magnetism. Once you're there, I invite you to experience the energy cathedral that is you. Actual physical cathedrals were built to express the magnificence of some deity, the magnificence of some god, so you could be dwarfed when you went inside and you could be afraid for this huge power. Oh God, we got two now. For this huge power that is God. And a lady once said to the one who is speaking now, that once you are standing at the actual altar of a church or a cathedral, you see that this entire architecture is built just to draw power to the one speaking. This is why we are sitting in a circle right now. There is no way to draw power to a certain person. The power needs to go round and round. Round and round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. Maybe she never stops. Maybe love never stops. Maybe life never stops. Maybe there is no death. Ooh, could that be? Could it be that there is no death? Could it be that you could become 800 years or older? Could it be that if you do this, that you would get too smart to be living in society, to be thwarted by government? Oops. Once you get too smart, you will make your own choices. But smart not up here, smart down here in the heart. It is interesting how today you have these classes, you have universities that teach you about so many things. Yesterday, the one who is speaking now and certain others ran into a girl with the name Sophia. Sophia, which is the same. They ran into this girl and she was going to follow a course called critical thinking. Okay, she will grow out of it eventually, but most of them who follow these courses don't. They just think they are thinking critical. It's just a way to play the game. But back to the cathedrals. If you go into these physical cathedrals, you can go into this one just 5 minutes away. You will be thwarted by the sheer power of God because you are small indeed. But if you go into your own energy cathedral, then you will be the ones to build this great building that is you, this great architecture that is you. And that is why the magnetic portals are there in the first place, not so you can travel through dimensions. You can travel without these portals in the end, you will find out. Just through the power of the heart that shifts dimensions consciously and continuously. But in the first place, these places are here to remind you who you are. To remind you that you are an energy cathedral on your own. That you have this space inside of you that is as big as the universe itself. And that once you open this space up to others, you are the universe. So please be a haven unto others. Be this space that you create for others, so that others can learn to create it for themselves. Don't be the ones who are being taught. Be the teacher. Always be the teacher. In the first place, not unto others, but unto you. If you can teach yourself anything, if you can understand that you can teach yourself anything, then you can create anything. There is no other way. There is no suffering that you have to go through to become enlightened. There is no valley of death you have to walk through. There is nothing except for what you are creating for yourselves. So in these last few days, as you have been invited to connect to the elements, the earth and the sky and the sun and the water, the ocean, it holds so much beauty, so much, well, magnificence, yes, but so much potential also. when you notice that no blade of grass is the same, when you notice that no wave is ever the same, when you notice that no cloud is ever the same, when you notice that the sun will never feel the same as its rays hit you every single moment, then you know of the vastness of creation. Then you know of the vastness of the universe. So please, wake up. Please get out of the rut you're in. Dare to choose again. Dare to choose differently. Dare to change your lives the way you want them. Dare to stop complaining about who you are and be who you want to be. This is the way of the Lemurian. It has always been the way. And this is all you will ever need to know, really. And if you dare to combine these four elements that are showing you that energy is limitless, that energy is ever changing, continuously reinventing itself, if you dare to see that these waves are always different and that the wind that you are feeling right now is never the same wind, then you are ready to connect these four elements. The energy of these four elements, the potentials of these four elements, through which all of life, all of the universe is created, every star. Then you can be the star. Then you can be the one that is ready to shift and raise your consciousness. As some of you here are doing right now by playing with the wind. Thank you very much. So, take these four fields of gold and lavender that are ready and waiting for you. Place them into the focus that is the fifth element of your own consciousness, connecting the brain with the heart. And dare to pulse your energy out, pulse your creation out, and see, experience how your life changes. There is no guarantee that this will work. There is no money-back policy. For the universe is so sure of you and what you can do that it has placed its own power onto you. Or is it that you have placed your own power onto it? You are big. Really, really big. You are huge. And you are magnificent. And you are dearly, dearly loved. But understand that it's you who are doing the loving. It's no one else. There are no separate masters out there existing only in energy that are ready to change your lives. If they exist at all, then they are connected to you, because you are creating, you are weaving your own world. It's ready and high time, dear ones. You understand this. For the end times have begun, and they have been tremendously misunderstood. As the Mayans and many, many other cultures have written about the end times, most people thought there would be an apocalypse. Think again. Most people have thought that there would be flooding and fire and that the world would come to an end. Yes, it does. The world that exists separately from you is coming to an end. The world where you are connecting, that all are connected to all that is merely just beginning. And these are the end times. These are the end times. I, as a translator of the energy of your own heart right now, hope with all my love that the end of you separating the universe from you will come quickly. My biggest wish for you is that you will wake up tomorrow morning in the understanding that when you open your eyes, All that you see is you. It is always you. And it has always been you. So if you can change physical aspects of your body by putting energy into action, why can't you change physical aspects of your reality by putting energy into action? If you exercise enough, you will lose weight. It is a fact. If you want to, you can change the color of your hair. If you want to, you can cure any disease. You have seen the experiences of this. You have seen the proof. So now it is time to start believing that you can do this to the outside reality as well. And some of you here are already doing this. And so I think we have come to a point where there is room for questions. If people have questions, I am listening to your questions, and I invite you, if you want to ask your questions, just to raise your hand for a moment so this digital voice recorder can go to you. And so things can be taped clearly for others to hear. Are there any questions that need answering? You can ask these in any language you like.
Any language?
Any language. The crow has a question. And the answer is 42. Okay. So does anyone have a question? I'm just going to give you this.
You're telling many of us that we are related to different kind of energies, like Jeshua energy or Sarah energy, or etc. I have been told by Brother Herman that I am related to the Metatron energy. What kind of energy is that?
Thank you. The Metatron energy is one of those energies that have been called angelic. The Metatron is one of these archangels that is supposed to be, in biblical terms, the voice of God. It is this energy, the Metatron, that has appeared to many a prophet, to many a teacher, to translate the energy of God into words, into reality. That's the biblical vision. Now, indeed, I and many others have been telling people that you are connected to this energy, Metatron, or you are connecting to the Sarah energy, or to the Magdalene energy, or to the Jeshua energy. These are just frequencies. What people don't understand is that all these masters, all these angels, are just frequencies of vibration. Vibration being energy. So everyone basically carries all vibration, basically carries all frequency. Depending on the way the heart is creating reality, you will express a different frequency and as such a different vibration. That is why at certain points people are told that they are carrying Metatron energy. But it is time for all of you to understand that this is not a limited choice. You are everything that is, and as such you are all masters. You are all angels. When you were told you are carrying Metatron energy, this just meant that you were ready to translate the voice of Spirit or the universe onto others, that you were ready to become the teacher. And that is all it meant. Now, last time when we had a session, the same thing was said, that you were ready to be the teacher, that everything you had learned through all your lives could now be put out, be put forward into books or into conversations or whatever. This is basically the same message. It just was said through empowerment of you, and not said that you were connected to a certain type of energy, you see. So it's basically the same thing, but what the difference was between when Rana Herman told you this about the Metatron energy and when we had the session is that you had become to the You had become conscious of the fact that you are all that is. So it was no longer necessary for you to be told that you are connected to an external energy, but that you are the energy. So you could be the voice or the words. You understand? Thank you for your question. Many others are dealing with this right now, so they will be glad to hear this. And you are loved. Anyone else?
Well, you are talking about creation, yes. But do you command, or you ask, or you sit on your knees? Because I think when I command, I think it's very rude. Well, the feeling of it.
Well, you don't command creation into being, into existence. You don't ask, for then you are placing yourselves lower than what you are actually trying to create. When you sit on your knees, then you pray. Prayer is so last year. Stop praying. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to ask. It's not necessary to command energy into existence. All you need to do is understand that you are existence. You are the universe. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. Others were working on the rain as well. But when I was working on the rain myself, I wasn't talking to a higher power. I wasn't trying to get something from a certain deity or God or whatever. I was just remembering that I was the world, and that in my reality of the world I didn't want the rain to be there. What I did was, actually I was just listening to a song in my head. Now, when you want to create sunshine, when you want to stop rain, what many people don't understand is that you need wind. You need to use the elements. So when you want the clouds to go away so that the sun can come out, you need to use the wind to push the clouds away. You just need to remember that you are the creator. You are powerful indeed. So you don't need to pray, you don't need to command. You are everything around you. It's like when you want to lose weight, for instance. You don't command yourself to lose weight. Well, you can, but you shouldn't, really. You just make the decision. Really. You make the decision, and through making the decision, you feel the joy of what you have decided. After the song Let the Sun Shine, in which I shall not repeat again, ever, after that song, I just went through my heart, and I felt the joy of us sitting here right now, dry. Now, what you need to let go then are expectations. For you see, it could very well have been that my abundant imagination would choose not to stop the rain, but that it would choose to show us a shelter. You need to go with the flow at that point. You need to use the water to flow. You see, when you create something, you need to understand that your imagination can go in endless directions, so that you get surprised by what you have created yourselves. Like, for instance, when our fellowship was traveling back from, I think it was Cornwall to Glastonbury, I wanted to create a space for us where we could all live for a while, and it should be cheap. Because we had been paying lots of money for terrible rooms, terrible places. It was really terrible. There were bugs everywhere. Curtains fell down as we breathed. You know, we didn't dare to move, or the walls would fall in. Things like that. So I wanted to create a space that was better. In the end, we created a space for ourselves that cost £13 a night. And it was a very luxurious apartment. I didn't know exactly where the apartment would be. I didn't know exactly all of the things. I just knew it would be what I wanted. And then I felt the pull of joy that led me to that place. Once I was there, I noticed that the place was filled with things that existed in other people's heads, in the people that would live in that apartment. So that is how you create. You choose, you go into the joy of the finished product, and then you let go. 3-step program. Easy to remember. Now, there is room for one more question before we finish. Is there anyone else who wants to have a question?
Yes.
In the knowledge that we will do this again tonight, later today. Anyone?
A little question about my neocortex. What's happening here? Because this morning I couldn't see anything. There was a kind of spiral, and I think going wrong with me.
So what you have here is a spiral on your forehead that is, well, this is just your creative power, honey.
Tunnel. That's all.
Sorry?
It feels like a tunnel.
Yeah. You are becoming more and more aware of the fact that you are in now space. If you are in now space and you make clear decisions, very concrete decisions, then you will see the now as it moves ahead of you, creating what you want. This is a different way of seeing things that is happening to you. If you wish, it will take you to a place where you no longer see the reality around you, but you just see the energy of things around you. And energy is always moving. It's always shifting. That is what you are seeing. That's what you are beginning to see. The power of your own thoughts, really, as they are traveling outside of you, as they are traveling through reality, creating what you need. Okay? Thank you. Now, those who haven't got the time to ask their question, don't worry. We will continue this conversation, this Ekaraya, later today. I wish to thank you for your contribution. These words could not have been put together without you being here, without you placing your energy onto them. So I thank thee, and I wish thee good creations. I wish thee love. I wish thee unity. And I hope for all of you that today you will experience that you are creating everything that is around you, and that you will choose again, that you will make a choice that will take you and your heart to the next level of your own love and existence. You are all dearly loved, and so it is. Eya ich, oya ich.